And guess who's back? This would be the Predaplant Despia deck profile for you guys. I just completed this. I had to play test it a couple of times just to see how much more efficient it would be, simply because I only had at the time one copy of this guy here, and I only had one access to Guardian, one copy of Guardian Chimera. I just earned an additional copy of these two, as well as the Venom Predator Power Fusion Dragon. So with the addition of these three to the deck does play way more consistent. You get to regurgitate all of your fusion plays more consistently. But let's get down to the criteria of the main deck. You play 2 effect veilers, 2 Predaplant well, yeah, you guys can see. 1 copy of the Cordyceps, 2 Despia Tragedy, 2 by Bliss, 3 copies of Maxi, because most decks special summon, so it helps with the consistency. 1 Squidora, don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, Chalamandsaur Sundu, however you pronounce that. 1 copy of the Orpheus Scorpio, 1 Darling Tonne Cobra, 2 Ash, 2 Bell, 3 Edgem Chain, 1 Aluba, 2 Dramatrid of Despia, 2 Bulfolis Clula, 2 Triantis, 3 polymerizations, 1 instant fusion, 2 copies of Fried for Patchwork, 1 ultra polymerization, 1 theater branded, 2 super poly. Oh, this was also another card that I only had 1 copy of in the deck. I was able to acquire the next one. These ultra rare cards, they really do take long to be able to generate. So 2 copies of super poly, that's how you're gonna break boards, 2 branded openings, and 2 evenly matched. So between evenly matched and super poly is how you're gonna break your opponent's fields and boards. In the extra deck, you play 1 copy of Mud Dragon of the Swamp. This is one of your super poly targets. You play 2 copies of you guys can see the name. So you play 2 copies of this guy. You play 1 Chimer Raphaelisa, 1 copy of Earth Golem Adignista, because if your opponent is playing links, they're gonna have a link monster and most likely a Cyberse monster, and you confuse them off to get through whatever setup they may have. You play 2 copies of the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 2 copies of the Dragos Stapelia, 1 copy of the Trinovertrum. You play 1 copy of that guy, then you play 2 copies, and this is the real engine behind the deck, Guardian Chimera. Being able to pop at least 1 card, draw 2, or pop 2 cards, draw 1 is always a 3 card differential. You pop 1 on your opponent's side of the field and draw 2, you literally got your money's worth out of making this guy. So you need, or you should always have at least 2 copies so that you can use this effect turn after turn to gain that advantage. You play 2 copies of the Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon and 1 copy of the Starving Venom Predator Power Fusion Dragon, because if your opponent is also playing fusion monsters, they are most likely going to have a dark fusion monster and just a fusion monster, and it's an excellent super poly target. But that's the entire deck in its simplicity. As you execute your plays, it just goes, especially when you make this guy here, is you always want to chain block this effect. So this is the first effect you want to trigger, and you can trigger everything else correspondingly afterwards, but just be sure to ensure that this effect goes off, because this is the real bread and butter behind the deck. And that's going to be it for the Predaplant Despia, and in another couple of minutes it's going to be the Starsaroth deck profile for you guys. So yeah, in a minute. Later.